wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Morning, Morgan.
Good morning. Happy Friday. How we feeling on a Friday?
Blessed, black, and highly favored.
You know I love to hear that. Okay, so first on front page, Democrat and Republican senators are sharing different and very contrasting views on the Iran strikes after an intel briefing. Now, Connecticut Democrat Senator Chris Murphy says Iran's nuclear program has been damaged, but not, quote, obliterated, as President Trump maintains. He also noted that the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was notably absent from the briefing. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina was confident about the U.S. strikes. Let's take a listen to the comments from those senators.
I just do not think the president was telling the truth when he said this program was obliterated. The director of national intelligence is not allowed to be in these briefings. That's a question that we should get answered.
Nobody is going to work in these three sites anytime soon. They're not going to get into them anytime soon. Their operational capability was obliterated.
Yeah, so this comes as the White House says President Trump has ended Iran's nuclear threat once and for all. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Iran was weeks away from developing a nuclear program before Trump ordered their sites to be, again, quote, obliterated, continue to use that word, by U.S. bombers. She slammed U.S. media reports about the effectiveness of the strikes on Iran's nuclear capabilities, or nuclear facilities, excuse me. Let's take a listen to those comments from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
The Iranian regime was weeks away from being able to produce a nuclear weapon that would threaten the entire world before President Trump took this decisive action on Saturday night to obliterate their nuclear capabilities. Despite agenda-driven leaks by the fake news media aimed at undermining this incredible accomplishment achieved by President Trump and our brave fighter pilots, there is broad consensus emerging already that Iran's nuclear capabilities were indeed destroyed.
So, of course, her comments come while questions swirl about the effectiveness of the strikes. The White House has been playing defense, trying to debunk a leaked intel report saying Iran's nuclear program has been delayed but not destroyed. Leavitt was pivoting, saying the Trump administration now looks forward to peace and prosperity in the region. And Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, says the U.S. achieved, quote, nothing from its military strikes on his nation. Khamenei added during more than a 10-minute address, the American president exaggerated events in unusual ways, and it turned out that he needed this exaggeration. That's what he said. So this, of course, that marked the first public remarks since the U.S. bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites on Saturday, and the Ayatollah declared victory in the conflict. He also pushed back on President Trump's claims that the strikes were a spectacular military success and warned against any further attacks. So that goes to show, where we are in terms of whether or not we're dealing with obviously the ceasefire is holding right now, but it's not all as sweet as things claim to be, at least from Iranian leaders.
We got to use some common sense with some of this too, right? Like the Iran supreme leader might be trying to save face, but if you drop 30,000-pound, bunker busting bombs on a facility, something happened.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and say that nothing happened and it wasn't effective.
Like they said, you're not going to work tomorrow. It's not one of the things.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Like I was reading what Rafael Grossi said. He's the International Atomic Energy Agency director, and he said, I think annihilated is too much, but it suffered enormous damage. And Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, he also said that our nuclear installations have been badly damaged. That's for sure. Once again, you drop 30,000-pound bunkers on something happened. You can't sit here and say that nothing happened. It wasn't effective. They did nothing. Like, come on.
Right. Well, we'll continue to watch the situation, monitor the situation, and see what develops out of that. Now, we will take it to 7 a.m. We will talk about how President Trump is threatening lawsuits against both CNN and the New York Times over reports regarding these U.S. airstrikes. So you guys stick around for that at 7.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club on this Friday. And let's get back to some front page news. What up, Morgan?
Hey, y'all. Hey, how we feeling?
Good.
Still good?
Good, girl.
All right. Let's get back into it. So President Trump is threatening lawsuits against both CNN and the New York Times over reports surrounding recent U.S. airstrikes in Iran. A lawyer for Trump sent a letter to both news outlets saying they had damaged Trump's reputation, demanding a retraction and apology for reporting that the attack on Iran had set back the country's nuclear program by only a few months, instead of saying that it was obliterated like Trump would like for people to say. Now, the Times posted a response on Thursday rejecting the demands and saying they told the truth to the best of their ability. A CNN spokesperson also confirmed the letter was responded to with rejection. It's a very interesting story that, Trump is going to start taking legal action against news outlets. So, I guess. In other news, President Trump continues to promote his big, beautiful bill. At an event yesterday to drum up support for the spending bill, Trump was flanked by working Americans wearing their uniforms of their employers. Now, the president spoke about what he believes what his big, beautiful bill, spending bill, will accomplish. Let's take a listen to his comments.
One of the most important pieces of legislation in the history of our country, the one big, beautiful bill to secure our borders, turbocharge our economy, and bring back the American dream. That's what's happening too.
So Trump said the spending bill would benefit the middle-class Americans joining him. Trump said his aides initially wanted the bill to be split up into smaller pieces, but he is pushing for that one big, beautiful bill, that one piece of legislation. Now, the president says he expects the bill to be on his desk by July 4th. The measure passed the House and now sits in the Senate, where Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes. And there have been some Republicans indicating that they will not vote along party lines with this. Now, Democrats say the bill cuts Medicaid and other social safety nets by billions of dollars. Republicans say these are much needed reforms to the programs that cut the deficit. And also during those remarks, apparently Trump mentioned that the U.S. and China have reached a deal over rare earth elements, rare earth materials. Now, the U.S. and China, of course, reached that deal to the production of everything from automobiles and electronics to fighter jets. Trump said the deal had been signed the day before, with the White House confirming it would help both countries reach an understanding over how to expedite shipments to the U.S. Western companies have faced difficulties in getting rare earth metals and they need from Beijing. Trump made a quick remark during the event for his big, beautiful bill, and let's take a listen to that.
Do you remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China.
So in the U.S., China has been carefully looking at buyers to make sure those rare earth metals aren't being used by the military. So this is for, computer chips. You know how President Trump is saying America first and he wants everything made in America? Well, we still need to get those rare earth materials in order to do that in some of those electronics, cars, and things of that nature. And in local news for you guys, New York Mayor Eric Adams is officially kicking off his re-election campaign. Adams announced he would run as an independent in April and attack the perceived frontrunner of the mayoral race, Mamdani. Mayor Eric Adams said it's not time for socialism, and he asked New Yorkers to get behind him. Let's take a listen to his comments.
A choice between someone who delivered lower crime, the most jobs in history, and the most new housing built in decades, and an assembly member who did not pass a bill. We're gonna lift up the city of New York, and so I'm asking you New Yorkers to continue to stand with me as we move this city in the right direction. I'm ready to be your mayor again for another 4 years.
Zohran Mamdani, a socialist Democrat, declared himself the winner of Tuesday's mayoral primary, and Adams will also face Republican Curtis Sliwa, Independent Jim Walden, and possibly former Governor Andrew Cuomo if he decides to run as an independent.
It's crazy to me how socialism is such a dirty word, man, because all socialism is where, they want to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor, and they want to make sure everybody has access to their basic necessities. And, when government intervention is needed for somebody to, have those basic necessities, then it can happen, whether it's healthcare, education, housing, just aiming to improve the overall well-being of citizens. That is what socialism is. That's why I like when Mamdani uses the word affordability. When he says, let's talk affordability. And I said that to him when he was here. I'm like, Democrats can come up with all types of other language, right? They'll say pregnant person and all this other goofy stuff. How come they can't come up with a better way to talk about socialism? Because people try to demonize socialism, but when you actually look under the hood to what it is, hell yeah, you would want your basic necessities dealt with.
Right, and as I understood it, or as I read it, it does, like you said, it closes the gap, but it also gives the people more of a voice. Is that correct too?
Oh, I don't know. I just know I'm just talking about the financial aspect of it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, before I go, let me do one more big one for you and me, Charlamagne. Shout out to the cancers. Charlamagne, you celebrating a birthday. I'm celebrating a birthday, and I know that the show is off next week, so don't clock me on the news. I'm just gonna say, but the Black Information Network got y'all. Okay.
Well,
that's
happy
y'all
birthday, Morgan.
Thank y'all. That's your front page news. I'm Morgan Wood. Y'all can follow me on socials at Morgan Media. And for more news coverage, y'all follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Thank y'all so much. Have a great week and enjoy your 4th.
Thank you, Morgan. Happy early born day.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Same to you, Char.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.